I like horror movies, right? Not as much as I like the thriller movies, and definitely not the gory ones that everyone is slashing each other. I like the more ominous ones. It's not so scary. And you can mention quite a number of things. Not so scary either. But one thing I find particularly nerve-wracking and very scary, and I didn't even realize this till this happened. A few days ago, at some point during the day, the word Ichabod suddenly came to my mind. And as soon as it registered, I froze for at least 10 minutes, trying to do a mental breakdown of not just my day or my week, but my entire year. I was trying to figure out what I could have done wrong to hear that word. So I kept doing a mental breakdown. Then I realized maybe it's just a warning. Maybe it's not for me, but let me explain. Ichabod was the grandson of the priest Eli, the son of Phinehas, and the brother to Ahitub. His mother went into labor when she heard the news that the Ark of the Covenant of God, which is the very presence of God, had been taken away by the Philistines, and both her husband and her father-in-law had passed away. She bore a son and named him Ichabod, which means the glory has departed from Israel. And same as Eli, the priest, as soon as he heard the news that the Ark of Covenant had been captured by the Philistines, he fell down backwards, broke his neck, and died. Now, it's fair to think both parties had lost their loved ones. Eli lost his sons in battle, and Phinehas' wife lost her husband in battle, and then eventually her father-in-law. Yet, it wasn't so much about the people they lost. They both lost their will to live as soon as they heard the news about the Ark of Covenant. That's because there's something worse. There's something worse than the loss they had just experienced. There's something worse than the election not turning out the way you had hoped for. There's something worse than the economy falling. There's something worse than losing a job or marriage. Whatever it is you're going through, I want to warn you that there's something worse. If we lose a battle, we can train new soldiers and try again. But if God's glory is gone, then there's no need to even try anymore. Now, a lot of people will argue that the Israelites committed heinous sins. The sons of Eli were corrupt and wicked. They stole from the church and they turned the house of God into a brothel. The sins of the Israelites were great, and that's why they experienced Ichabod. It can happen to anyone. And to understand how, you first of all need to understand what was taken from the Israelites. The Ark of Covenant was a physical symbolism of God's presence with Israel. The Ark contained Aaron's rod, the tablet of stones, and a golden pot with manna. These three articles were symbolic of God's spiritual government, His truth, and His spirit. It is these three contact points that created the environment for the children of Israel to fellowship with God. God will govern them, lead them, guide them, and commune with them on the basis of their conformity to these things. And with sin within the camp of the Israelites, God cannot go with them, which is why they lost the battle to the Philistines. And that is also applicable with us today. With sin in our lives, the glory of God cannot abide with us. Not because God is against people, but He is against sin. Now, as people of flesh, no one is without sin. But what matters is that we acknowledge it and genuinely repent. The real problem starts when we stop caring about its consequences. Sin anesthetizes its victims before it unalives them. And once a person gets comfortable in sin, you activate Ichabod. Now, everything may seem as though it's going right. You may even be successful. However, the glory of God is long departed. Namaste.